Greetings everyone, a warm welcome. Hey Libra, this is your reading for November 2018. We're using the John Holland cards, 7 of them with a mystic 7 spread, then one final card at the end. So let's get into the shuffling. I have already been doing some for you with your intents in the cards, or your intentions in the cards. So Libra, November. One more. Okay, the first card is your current situation, which is number 12, Sacrifice, the Hanged Man. That's your first major arcana. The second card is your obstacle, and it's number 5 of Wands, and it says obstacles and challenges, interestingly enough. Your third card is your aspiration, which is the number 3, and it's recognition and reward, and that's the 3 of Pentacles. Your fourth card is what needs to be awakened, which is the 8 of Wands, acceleration motion. Your fifth card is what lies behind you, another major arcana. He's number 4, the authority, which is the Emperor. Your sixth card is what the next stage will be, and it's the 2 of Wands, the waiting game. And your seventh card is the final outcome, what will be, and it is the 9 of Swords, which is suffering in silence. So 2 major arcanas for you, and quite a few wands. So we see that kind of real purple energy coming through, and a little bit of red as well. Let us start with the first card, your major arcana, which is the current influence or situation, and it's Sacrifice, or the Hanged Man. It's quite a nice card. I often feel it's a really contemplative energy. The Hanged Man represents finding ourselves in a place in life where we are doing exactly that. We're contemplating what is going on. He pinpoints it as a sacrifice, which I guess you could consider it is in one way, because we're going to be possibly giving something up to uplift something else. It's a time when we can also find the universe has its own timing mechanism. As humans, we have our time that we understand, which is minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, a year. The universe doesn't work like that. It times things how it wants to, and because this is a major arcana card, it can reference that timing that you are wanting to have happen doesn't necessarily occur that way. And right next to it you have another card here that talks about the waiting game. So it can reference the fact that you could be thinking, oh, I really want such and such to happen, and you're waiting on an answer or a proposition or an offer or a project to come to completion, and it stalls a little bit. If this happens to us, it's really important that we learn to understand that the timing isn't right. Our idea of the timing is off, and we need to sit back and go, okay, I'll wait. Because usually by waiting and having the patience, and we've got it here to tell you again, that something better will occur, or it will flow better in its own timing agenda. We also see this one down here which says accelerated motion. That tells you that somewhere something is going to speed up. So you might be waiting on something right at this moment in time, or you might be trying to hurry yourself up into making a decision, and for some reason or another you just can't. Just accept it for what it is, and allow yourself to open up and see the broader picture and bring in many more dynamics, because often that's what it takes, allowing our thoughts to become more expansive so we can see more objectively, and we can add to the picture, and we can often come up with a better solution. So he calls it the Sacrifice card, but we do often see this beautiful rainbow light effect coming into her mind, into her crown chakra area, where she finds this illumination or understanding. So the Hanged Man can often also represent a card where we are profoundly awakened to something that is greater than just us. We have a cosmic connection. We get a slight source understanding or awakening, or like a push up to the next level of our journey in life. So it's a great card to start with. It's setting the tone for the month. It's asking you to have patience, to be open to many different possibilities. In fact, it's really interesting when synchronicity decides to show us the exact example of timing and expanding your ideas. That was clearly my phone going in the background, literally like opening up and expanding and having its own timing in practice. So we'll move on to the next card, which is the Five of Wands, and it's the obstacles and challenges. That often means around you, and it's a good card in essence for that one to be your obstacle and challenge, because it is. The card can suggest that there are other people who are competitive in your field at this point in time, especially if this is in terms of thinking about your career. So for those of you in the workforce, it could suggest that there is potential competition if you have a project on your mind, or if you have got a creative source going on. Also, if any of you have applied for job applications, I do find that this card, when it turns up, indicates that other people are also applying and they have the criteria for the job. So I often say to people at this point, put your best foot forward, and it's really cool that he has this in his picture, a foot going forward. So this is what this card means. Stand up, stand out too, and be the good option that people want to select, and especially around job candidacy, also for relationships. So this card can often mean you might find that you're wanting to meet new people, or perhaps form a new partnership or romantic partnership, and you might have picked someone out, but there's a lot of interest for that person as well. So you again have to put your best foot forward. So the card is very much not about giving up, but rather about applying yourself and really getting in there and knowing that you can take that best foot forward and make the step, because in real terms that's not a big step across there. So the card, because it's a number 5, represents the fact that it's transient. It won't be a long-term perspective, or it won't be a long-term kind of energy around you. It just is for the moment. I think competition is really healthy. It promotes us to be our best, and it also helps to create more passion and new ideas around us as well. If we had no competition, we'd probably be these sluggish creatures, and we'd be like way back, and we wouldn't change, and we'd have no great ideas or any gumption to move forward. So think of competition as being a healthy prospectus in life, one that helps to further us and propel us into new situations. If we come to the third card up the top, which is number 3 of Pentacles, this is your aspiration, and this card tells us that maybe you are wanting success or awards or dividends one way or another. Now this card can often come about when we are working on a project with other people one way or another, or we are trying to cohesively form a structure along those lines. And it usually bodes quite well, so it means success is coming. Now we've seen this with We've got a success card down here. We've got these 2 cards here that are telling you about waiting, and a little bit going on in here saying, well, there's competition, guys, you know, get your act together. So you've got a lot of messages in here to say, I think that it's not just your decisions this month and leading into December that are going to be at the forefront of your decision making. There are going to be other people who impact on it one way or another. This can often represent 3 people being involved in this project. It could represent a term of 3 months or 3 weeks or even 3 days, I guess. But it usually bodes fairly well. Some of you may find that you receive a promotion or a pay increase, or just a reward, even sometimes a public award. So if any of you have got something you've been doing publicly, you might find that it's printed or published as well. These are also opportunities when this card is in, and these are things that you might be wanting, because this is your aspiration card. So make sure you keep focusing on it, and it's like we've said before, don't give up. It's not that far to go until you reach success. If we come to your 4th card, it's what needs to be awakened, and it's accelerated motion. So they're telling you to here we are, here's a dichotomy, isn't it? I told you that things are, slowing down up here maybe, and that you needed to really expand your horizons and your thinking to find perhaps some illuminated answers. And then we come to this one and it says accelerated motion, and this needs to be awakened. So somewhere there's something that could be coming in fast anyhow, but you need to be ready to hop on the boat. So not too much of this contemplation up here. Be ready for quick action. This can also represent, again, your creative side of life. So it can be the passion you feel about something, or in your career sector. Now, interestingly, this card can also represent air travel. So sometimes to attend something like a job interview, and this might be a very sudden opportunity coming. It might be one that you haven't foreseen or you hadn't planned on. It can be that you might be travelling for a holiday as well. It can also represent that you could be about to engage in meeting new people. And again, this could be swift and unaccounted for. It could also potentially relate to new romance. So we can see a little bit of that feeling coming in here, and this card does actually meet it quite well. So for those of you looking for romance, there's a possibility that that's in the air. You're going to have to grab it because it might be hurtling past at a great pace. Even though we've got the Hanged Man in there and we've got some sort of contemplative time, be aware of all the stuff that's happening on around you, because you've got so many wands in your reading. It's quite an activated month. It's quite fiery. It's quite tempestuous. It's like boom, much is going on. So if we come to the 5th card, which is the Authority card over here, and he is the Emperor, he often is associated with the 4th month of the year, which can be April, so it could be next year. And he's also associated with Aries type energy. So sometimes an Aries person who might be associated with a project or an idea or a concept or someone in your life. For some of you, there's a possibility he represents like a partnership. But given that this was a past card, or what lies behind you, he could well be someone who has played a role in your life in the past, one way or another. So he could have been an ex-partner, or like a brother-in-law, or a lawyer, or accountant, or tax man, and something that he might have taught you or told you or supported you with could be about to either resurface again, or you might need to go back and address it and re-lift up the knowledge or information that he has given you. It could be that he comes back into action in April of next year, or in around about that time frame. So there's plenty of different scenarios when he's turned up. He also represents very much doing things the right way, by the book, being very moral, following rules and traditions. So those type of energies could also apply for you, as we are, like, you may have felt you were doing that, you were behaving that way in the past, and you might have had success with something. So it might be telling you to realign with some of those kind of authoritarian figures again, or those values, or maybe you will associate with those people again one way or another. As I say, I feel it's a very open message, that one, and I notice he is sitting, quite away from the rest of the cards. He's a little bit he's disassociated himself somehow, and he looks a bit stern there, as if to say, "Ooh, I'm not entirely happy." I don't know who or what he is. But anyhow, I think you might come across him again, or his agenda or energies. We come to the 6th card, and this is the 2 of Wands, and it's the waiting game. I don't think we need to say too much. That is the career energy. That's your creative energy as well. So if this is the waiting game, it's telling you we've had the Hanged Man, we've got this going on. Even though you've got the accelerated motion in the middle, there's something that's just, you're having to wait. I don't know quite what it is, but it's either like a passion or an excitement, or your mojo, or it's like this answer to the creative project, or a job that you're seeking, or inspiration, or a flow, or a promotion. It's any of those possibilities, and it's all about taking the time to just accept what is, expanding your mind while you're in the waiting mode, feeling out for tentacles to pull it all together, to parcel it up, to make more sense, to have it more comprehensive, to have it as a better offer to put forward. The card, the 2, also represents balance, so it is asking you to balance things out here and to not, go off unleveled or with half the information. Your final outcome card is the number 9 of Swords. So I think these two kind of both, they kind of slow it down a little bit towards the end of the month. It could be that you get this kind of like tension or this annoyance at the hold up of a project or something in place, because the 9 of Swords is this anxiety, if you like feeling frustrated in particular at a situation. So I'm feeling as though whatever it is that you were planning on or wanting to do or move forward in, for you, this whole timing, this entire row here has got something to do with timing, and then the annoyance that comes with it when it's not going our way. You have to just do exactly what we've been talking about. You just have to let it be and understand that all happens exactly as it is meant to for the exact reason. We can't choose to have the universe time certain things for us. Some things we can, but others are beyond us. They are up in the celestial energies and they don't necessarily show themselves when we want. So just relax that energy out. Don't get so wound up about specifics. Be a bit more open. Be a bit more allowing, I guess, and reduce anxiety and reduce any tension that comes in. And just know that everything changes. Nothing remains the same. The only constant thing in the universe is change. And I often say, there's this wonderful little saying, if you feel stressed or anxious because things aren't going as you want or in a time frame that you want, you can say to yourself, this too will pass. And it does, and it moves on. So there we are, Librans. Probably not the most exciting of readings, but there's plenty in there to think about. There's plenty to go back and listen to, and I think you'll find that there is a lot going on in the month, but that might be also why you feel a little bit jaded at the end of it, because there seems to be a lot of stuff happening. Let's put these cards away and see what your last one is. From the Angels of Atlantis series. 12 different archangel energies in here. So this is for Libra, for November. One more. And that's it. Okay. Haniel. Beautiful. Hope. And I mean, that in itself is a gorgeous card with that white dove. And I think that probably ties in fairly well with that last card, you know, the 9 of Swords. And when we feel a little bit anxious or tense, or when something hasn't gone our way or in our time frame, we often lose hope or faith. So by having hope, you encourage all the positivities and all that positive thinking and the optimism of manifestation to pour into your life. So you can use Haniel at any time in the month, and she kind of looks to be this reddish type energy with the beautiful white dove, and utilize that energy whenever you feel like something is sluggish or a bit stuck or it's not going in the direction you want. Apply the wonderful eternal positive energy of hope and know that all dreams, desires and wishes and manifestations can occur in time and with the right energy applied to them. So thank you for joining me, guys. I love it when you leave your messages. Check out your moon and rising signs as well, because a lot of these readings have had really very similar messages pass through them for the month. I do think November is a fairly intense month. It's kind of like the 11th month of a year that adds up to 11. So we've got an 11 synergy happening. It's also the month of kind of like birth, death and reincarnation. So I do think it's often an active month of the year. But yeah, thanks for joining me. Much love to you all. Namaste.